Welcome to the Screen Podcast, and thank you for joining us for insight and analysis of the global film industry, brought to you by the teams of Screen International and ScreenDaily.com. I'm Wendy Mitchell. I'm a contributing editor at Screen, and I am thrilled to be your host. Today, I am joined by Matt Mueller, editor-in-chief. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
And Wendy Ide coming back, our senior international critic.
Hi there.
Hi, double Wendy's. Here we go. We are coming to you today with an immediate take on today's Cannes lineup announcement. Please bear with us. We've said this is such a hot take. We have not had hours and hours to crunch tons of numbers or research every tiny cast member. It's such a hot take. We'll call it white hot, or is blue hot even hotter than white hot? We'll see. We'll do our best. Bear with us. And of course, there will be more analysis. The full lineup, of course, is on ScreenDaily.com already. We will stay tuned with us ahead of Cannes for even more insight into some of these films. It's my usual caveat on the day of a Cannes announcement that this is the official selection so far. Like, I hate it when sort of tabloids might say, oh, there's no British film selected, but Thierry Fremaux is going to add more films to this official selection. We also have the lineups of Directors Fortnight to come, Critics Week, accolade, even though I still don't know what accolade really is. Yeah. But it's such an exciting day. I've had my adrenaline pumping, some amazing films announced, and who knew Thierry Fremaux was going to start talking about Gary Lineker. He always keeps us on our toes. So let's start with Wendy Ide. And once again, I know you haven't had days to digest this, but what's your first impression overall? Does it look like a good year on paper?
Well, my metric for an exciting Cannes lineup is the Cannes Q punch-up metric. So how many films are going to generate the Cannes punch-up when people are so desperate to get in there, the tension boils over. And I think we've definitely got quite a few. I would say that the Pawlikowski is a punch-up potential. The Mungiu is a punch-up potential. So yes, we have got those big heavy hitters, the ones that are going to really generate a little bit of kind of excitement because, you know, you absolutely have to see them. But for me, I think what makes it a really interesting, quite, you know, a meaty competition lineup. Obviously, I'm talking specifically about the competition here because I think there's a lot to be announced in the other strands. For me, I think what's interesting are, you know, rising talents. Lucas Dhont is his second competition slot. I think that this is going to be a really interesting one for him because Thierry described it as pure cinema. And that's quite an accolade coming from Thierry, isn't it? He knows his cinema. So that's an exciting one. But yeah, for me, I'm thrilled to see that there's sort of new blood being introduced. There's quite a lot of newcomers like Marie Kreutzer, who obviously was in Cannes with Corsage, her previous film. Valeska Greisbach hasn't been in Cannes before, I don't think. And Arthur Harari obviously has been as a writer and as an actor. So these are new names, and in left field titles as well, like The Black Ball, which is really exciting for me. So it's not one of those absolute kind of everything's a really big name kind of starry lineup, but it seems to me to be really meaty, have lots of promise, lots of perhaps a festival of discovery as much as anything else, which is for me the absolute thing that I want most in a film festival, is to be surprised and to feel like I'm really kind of discovering something I didn't know was going to be, you know, my new favorite film. So yes, I'm hoping for surprises.
Great. And I was going to mention just a few. I don't think there's any shocks in that competition. There's no films that nobody had ever heard of before, really. I think we are surprised that the Lucas Dhont Coward is ready. Thierry saw it yesterday, and it's pure cinema. And I love Lucas and his films, so I'm excited for that. There was one in Uncertain Regard, which I think has taken people by surprise, which is Jordan Firstman's debut feature in Uncertain Regard, as I mentioned, Club Kid. He stars in this alongside Cara Delevingne, Diego Calva. It's about a washed-up party promoter in New York City. He's an actor, as I mentioned. So he is starring at HBO's I Love LA. He was in Rotting in the Sun. But I had not seen that film on any Cannes prediction list. So I love it when there's something kind of left field from there. I think The Travolta, as we are now having to probably start calling it, that was announced last week, of course, but nobody had really been tracking that film, or indeed maybe asking to see it. I'm going to try to play nice until somebody has seen it. Maybe it's very sweet. But I don't think that was one people had expected to see in Cannes. Diamond by Andy Garcia was a film we knew about. I hadn't seen that tipped for Cannes. That's out of competition. But clearly, of most of those I've just mentioned, are a way for Thierry to get some Hollywood heavyweights in town, perhaps not with a big studio film. In the main competition, the only American so far is Ira Sachs, who we love. So, those were. Anybody else have any?
Yeah, well, not sure. I mean, the Travolta was actually announced ahead of Cannes, which I thought was quite funny and interesting. And apparently, it's only an hour long. So there you go. Even if you're not sort of looking forward to it, at least you'll only have an hour to have to sit through it if you do decide to go see that one. Yeah, I mean, I focusing on going back on the competition. I mean, I think it's really, again, Thierry always is quite rightly sort of grilled for the number of women filmmakers he chooses in competition. I think it's five this year. There's obviously, he said there's one more film to announce, but that's going to be a male filmmaker. Is that going to be Ruben Östlund? I don't know. We'll see. He has said he's going to be holding his film off until 2027. The entertainment system is down. But it's interesting looking at the female filmmakers he has chosen. I mean, Marie Kreutzer, you mentioned. Valeska Grisbach, actually, Wendy, I didn't want to interrupt you, but she has actually been in Cannes before. She was in Certain Regard in 2017 with Western. And this is actually her first film since then. So, her first film in 10 years. Leah Missius, obviously, we mentioned, she's making her competition debut. She's been in Cannes a couple times previously with two of her films. I'm interested by the female filmmakers I don't really know, or I wasn't really aware of. I mean, there's A Woman's Life by Charlene Bourgeois Takei. I'm not sure I know that filmmaker. And the other one was Jean Herry, who's an actress filmmaker, and this is her Cannes debut. But her previous films have actually got tons of César nominations and Lumiere Award nominations. So she's very well known in France, clearly, and sort of making a sort of debut on the international stage this year. And then also interesting to see Laszlo Nemes back in competition. Obviously, he announced himself big time as a filmmaker in 2015 with Son of Saul, but he hasn't been back since. And I think a lot of people expected his film Orphan to be selected last year, and it wasn't, and it ended up in Venice instead. But he's obviously back now with a story of a French wartime figure, so that'll be an interesting one to see. And lots of, I think, knowing that Park Chan-wook is the jury head this year, we have a lot of Asian filmmakers. Ryosuke Hamaguchi's in the lineup, and the Korean filmmaker Na Hong-jin, his first time in competition. Obviously Koji Fukada with his film, and of course Hirokazu Koreeda with Sheep in the Box. And he's obviously, I think, the only Palme d'Or winner actually in this year's lineup who's previously won the Palme d'Or with Shoplifters.
No, there's another one.
Oh, is there?
Yes, Mungiu won it for 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days.
Of course he did. Yes. No,
Yeah,
so two.
Yeah.
And two other. Well, Pedro has been in many times in competition previously. He's actually never won the Palme d'Or. He has won Best Director and Screenplay. But you mentioned Lucas Dhont. Exciting to see him in the lineup too, with it only his third film, second time in competition.
So, Matt, did you, as I've said, I hate it when people jump the gun and say, this film isn't in. But anything there was a notable omission for you so far? I mean, I know there was a lot of outrage online that we didn't hear about the James Gray film today. Maybe Thierry will add that. We have the sidebars to come. Maybe, I think the UK has hopes for Cleo Barnard's new film. Maybe that will show up in fortnight. We don't know.
Yeah.
But Matt, is it too dangerous to talk about films you're shocked aren't in the list?
I don't want to say shocked, but yeah, there probably were some names we were talking about that we anticipated we might see. I mean, there's a new Nanni Moretti film. He's obviously been a Cannes regular, called It Will Happen Tonight. Kirill Serebrennikov, the Russian filmmaker, obviously, has a film. Maybe it just wasn't ready in time. That was called After. One film that a lot of people were talking about ahead of time, and we might see it appear in one of the sidebars yet, or who knows, maybe it'll be the one that he's going to announce as the final slot in competition. But the Felix van Groningen film, Let Love In, about kind of a sort of fictionalized version of his own relationship with the actress and his co-screenwriter Charlotte Vandermeesch, who was also in the film The Eight Mountains with Luca Marinelli, and he also stars in that film. I think that was one we thought might turn up. So, but again, I think we mentioned, like, in certain regard, it's only probably half complete, right? I mean, it hasn't even, that's like they've only announced like 11 titles in a certain regard, and so you expect a lot more to be announced there. There was a Michel Franco film called Circles, which is a little bit under the radar, which I think, but then Michel's also been to Venice a few times recently, so maybe they're holding out for Venice instead. Those were kind of the ones that jumped out, I think, is maybe being not announced today.
Yeah. I also, I'm hearing from some French tipsters, who knows if they're right or not, or just gossips, that the Radu Juda Diary of a Chambermaid, it looks likely for director's fortnight. I don't know if that's here nor there. Let's see. Wendy, anything you are desperate to see added?
Well, I mean, I think the Zelmer Brothers film, again, that for me is a likely one for Director's Fortnight, Alpha Gang. The other thing which I certainly saw tipped, which I'm hoping to see somewhere, is the latest film by the Swedish Sami director Amanda Kernell, Brace Your Heart, which I really love her films. I mean, it's probably a small film for competition, but I'm hoping we get to see that somewhere.
I've seen some footage of that film.
Oh, have you?
And it's a bigger scale than some of her others. There's
right.
But that might be a great one for Fortnite or something. Yeah.
There was also, I mean, there was mention of the Jean-Pierre Jeunet film Violette, so I wondered if that might turn up. But who knows? Maybe that might be the one that's announced late.
That's a big budget French project as well. I mean, you might expect to see that one land in out of competition or premiere slot maybe. Again, I feel like today was pretty light on the announcement. It feels like he's got a lot more to announce still.
Oh, Thierry, keep us guessing. I wanted to go ahead. We mentioned quite a few female directors, which always makes us happy. I just wanted to mention that last year there were 7 female directors in competition out of 23 films. So that was 18%. I think the best we've ever seen from competition was 33% in 2023. So far this year, we have 21 films by 22 directors in competition, and 5 of those are women. So that's at 22.7%, if we're being a geek about this. It's funny because Thierry sort of made a big deal, like, oh, this is a really good, strong year. Thierry, you're down a little bit. And we have to see what happens when you add more. Is that number going to bump up by 1 or 2? But yeah, it's kind of on par with the past 5 years. The 5-year average is 24% female directors in competition. Let's see. He might defend himself by saying he's announced quite a few in a certain regard already. Yes, that's what I was going to mention.
That's probably at least like half female filmmakers, I think.
No, it's 8 out of 11, Matt.
Oh, so even more. There you go. Much better.
So that's a great number. Very happy with that. And he did point out that he's estimated about 25 to 28% of the 2,541 films submitted to Cannes this year were by female filmmakers. Some of the other sections so far, again, we don't know. There's only 11 films in uncertain regard. We'll see what happens. There's only 1 woman out of 7 announced in out of competition today, 1 of 5 at midnight, 1 of 5 in special screenings, none in premiere. The non-white directors in competition is at 22%. That's all men. That's down on the average. There are no black directors in competition so far. Any thoughts? Wendy Ide, is that good enough?
it's never good enough, is it? It can always do better. I do think they are making an effort with diversity. I mean, I'm really happy to see the trans woman director
Yes.
in Uncertain Regard, and you know that actually is one of the things I'm most excited about seeing.
Jane Schoenbrunn,
Teenage Sex and
really
Death,
boundary
camping out.
pushing filmmaker. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. But look, I mean, it's Cannes. We have issues, but they are doing, you know, they're doing the work. They're trying, I think.
Yeah, there's a few, you know, there's a few that we might expect to see, like Clive Barnard. I mean, we haven't really mentioned the Brits. I mean, again, you know, I don't think we're ever surprised that the Brits don't always score that well when the Cannes selection's announced. But Clive Barnard has been to Directors Fortnight in the past, and you know, so we might see her film "I See Buildings Fall Like Lightning" turn up. Agnieszka, yeah, how do you say her name? Agnieszka Smosinska, you know, that great Polish filmmaker. She's got a new film, Hotspot, again. I think one we might have thought could turn up in one of the sort of sidebars, perhaps. So there's still Judith Godrech's film, right? The one about the kind of Me Too themed story called A Girl's Story. I mean, that was one people thought might turn up again, might land in a sidebar. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's hard to sort of make final pronouncements because this lineup is not final. So yeah, we'll check back with us. We'll keep you posted on how some more films that are going to be added. And Wendy, we've mentioned there's quite a few Asian filmmakers. I did see online some idiot saying, oh, well, clearly there's lots of Asian films because Park Chan-wook is the jury president and he pushed Thierry. And it's like, no. That's not... Park Chan-wook is not selecting the films. Let's set that record straight. And Wendy, any sort of trends you noticed amongst regional filmmaking or styles of filmmaking? Or we haven't seen these films yet, so it's kind of hard to ask.
It is hard, particularly as some of them we don't really know much about it, and I'm reading massively conflicting descriptions of what the films actually are, for some of them at least.
That's always fun, yeah.
I mean, I would say it's a good year for Spain. There's three Spanish films in competition. I mean, obviously the Almodovar has already been released, so there's no real mystery on that one. Rodriguez Sorogoyen, I'm a huge fan. I loved The Beasts, which was in Cannes premiere, I think, probably about 5 years ago. I really loved his TV series, The New Year's, which is currently on Mubi, I think. So that I'm excited about. And then I think we've already mentioned the Black Ball, which, you know, is also another Spanish one. So Spain is one thing I have flagged up. Mid-century European stories is another of my little trends here. So we've got a couple of films. Okay, so Notre Salut by Emmanuel Marais, set in 1940, sort of about, you know, Vichy era France. We've got Fatherland, Pawlikowski, just after the Second World War, about Thomas Mann. And I'm going to sound my Sandra Huller klaxon for that film as well. She's usually a bit of a signifier for, you know, a potential awards film. So she's in that. So we should be watching that. Moulin, the Laszlo Nemes, is another World War II drama. And then we've also got, well, there's another one as well. Let me look through my list. Well, yes, Coward is World War One, so I suppose not really mid-century, but that's another kind of European tale of combat. So that's one theme that I picked up on. Then, I mean, it's also kind of an interesting year for genre. I mean, we've got 2 musicals, as far as I know, possibly more. We don't know exactly what's going on with all of these films. There's definitely at least one horror. The Na Hong Jin Hope is a sort of horror sci-fi thriller. Sheep in a Box, the Coriader, is a sci-fi. We've got The Unknown, the Arthur Harari, is a sort of body swap fantasy. So, you know, we have some kind of interesting genre stuff going on there. And I'm sure there's another one. Oh, yes, The Irish Sex is a musical. So, yeah, I think, you know, there's some interesting little trends going on. There's not an overriding trend that I can see, but, you know, little sub-trends.
I love a sub-trend because also you can't have 8 Spanish films or 10 sci-fis. So we like these mini trends to sort of wake us up when we're watching all these films. Matt, anything you noticed trend-wise?
Well, some strong stories with gay themes. I mean, I think the Iris Axe you mentioned, The Man I Love, which I think is going to have an AIDS or certainly, yeah, some kind of theme like that in its story. The Spanish film, The Black Ball, that's kind of like exploring what it means to be gay in like different years of Spanish history. I think the first year, like starting in 1932 and then ending in the last year is like 2017. So that sounds really interesting. Also a musical with Penelope Cruz. Coward, I mean, I don't want to make any assumptions, but it is Lucas Dhont. So we might get some, gay First World War storylines going on in that film. Who knows? We'll see. And then there was one we mentioned as well, Jim Queen. I think that's in Midnight, isn't it? Which sounds very, which sounds fantastic about, trying to find someone who gets turned into a heterosexual and tries to find a cure to get their heterosexuality cured so they can be gay again.
And that's animated, right?
And it's animated,
it sounds
exactly,
really cool.
Yeah, sounds really cool. So yeah, that's something I picked out.
Great. Matt, I'm going to come back to you. Do any of these films, I mean, we've mentioned Sandra Hüller, who has done well in award season in the past. Any of these films on paper already signaling BAFTAs, Oscars, races, and I feel a little bit sick to my stomach on, April 9th to be using the word award season. But last year we probably could have flagged up Sentimental Value last year because that sounds like a film that could do well with Oscar voters. But I don't think we would have flagged up Sirat on paper. So we don't really know. But Matt, anything flagging?
Yeah, the Sirats are going to be those are the great surprises where it's like a second or third time filmmaker who, is in competition for the first or second time and just kind of surprises everybody with their film. Those are going to be the exciting surprises. But I think when you're looking at kind of like the list of kind of, known directors, I mean, there's obviously some really strong contenders who I'm sure we're going to be talking about in a few months' time. Asghar Farhadi, of course, I mean, he's and with his film sort of set in France, I mean, you may well see him end up being selected by France as their sort of Oscar contender. Obviously, this is jumping way ahead, so possibly we'll see what happens there. Hirokazu Koreeda is obviously always going to feature strongly in end of season conversations. Laszlo Nemes did well with Son of Saul. Andrei Zvyagintsev, with Minotaur. I mean, obviously with Loveless and Leviathan, they were both really strong award season contenders. Probably Pawlikowski again, Fatherland, Cold War, obviously. I mean, that achieved multiple Oscar nominations outside of the international feature category. So again, you got to sort of expect that one to be kind of in the mix. And I think like you, Wendy, I'm so excited about Rodrigo Sorogoyen's film again, because The Beasts was just so fantastic. So I'm really, really intrigued by The Beloved, and, because that it feels like a potential breakout to me.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, the Iris Axe will probably be on awards radars as well. I'm just going to mention some of that cast. It's Rami Malek, Tom Sturridge, Rebecca Hall, Ibn Mos Bakrak, who I love from The Bear. Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see what connects, because as we also know, sometimes a launch in Cannes can kill your award season chances in 2 hours. So let's wait and see. Good luck, everybody. I'm just also wondering, do we want to, for fun, again, hot take here. Again, we don't even know what some of these films are about or their genre, depending on what we're reading. But, we mentioned Park Chan-wook is the jury president. Any early guesses about what he and his jury might go for? For me, I feel like Minotaur the Zvyagintsev is getting a lot of early buzz as a Palme contender. I mean, they're all Palme contenders. That's why they're in competition. But knowing Park Chan-wook's work, does anybody want to make a guess about which of these films he will love? And we know this is a fool's game.
I'm just going to say, because I feel like Park might go for a future-looking film as opposed to a historical kind of like docudrama sort of look back. So I'm going to say maybe Sheep in the Box is going to be of interest to him with its AI themes, perhaps. That's my early tip.
Wendy?
I think, obviously it's a Korean filmmaker, but Nahon Jin might be of interest. I mean, unless they hate each other, who knows whether there's some kind of politics there. But that does seem like it might tick a few boxes for him. Certainly ticking a few of my boxes anyway. I'm quite keen to see that.
Let's start that rumor, a feud in the Korean film industry. No, we don't know. Let's wait and see. Well, we'll never know what Park Chan-wook is thinking until the winners are handed out. But we will have some sense of how the films are going down with the screen jury grid, which is always popular. So do look for that online and in print during Cannes. Let's, for fun, each pick one film from competition that's just at the top of our personal must-see list. I'll go first because I'm selfish. Mine is Mungiu's Fjord, which he's, of course, already a Palme d'Or winner, as we've mentioned. This stars Sebastian Stan and Renata Reinsva, so very interesting cast, but it's really about this foreign couple who moves to this very small town on a fjord in Norway, and real cultural differences between them and the people who already live in this very tight-knit village. And excuse my name drop, but I spoke to Renata about this, and she was just saying it was such a fascinating way for her to work with these sort of long takes that Mungiu does, and more quietness. Not everything is spoken aloud, and I can't wait to see just the culture clash on screen, but also these filmmaking cultures coming together, because shot in Norway, Romanian director, international cast. So that one's on my list. Also, I have to say it was hilarious. I was watching the YouTube live stream this morning of the official Cannes feed, and there were so many Sebastian Stan fans on there. And like every 5 seconds, one of them was just like screaming Fjord. So they will be very happy that this film is included. There were some very funny comments on there too for people who don't know how Thierry runs these press conferences and just like, what is he talking about? We just want a list of films. So that was quite hilarious. Matt, can I come to you for your film? At least one film you're very excited to see.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I have to say, I think the lineup looks great. There's a lot of films I'm very excited to see. There's a lot of filmmakers I really love on this list. The one I'm going to go for is quite left field, but I mean, we actually put it on our festival bait list right at the start of the year. So I feel like I've been hearing about it for a while already, and to see it selected for competition feels kind of like a validation that maybe it's actually good. So that's The Black Ball, the Spanish film by the directors Javier Ambrosi and Javier Calvo. And it's their second feature, making their Cannes debut. As I sort of said earlier, exploring what it means to be gay through different years in Spanish history. It's got Penelope Cruz in it. It's got Glenn Close. It's a musical. It's inspired apparently by an unfinished play by Federico Garcia Lorca. So I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of really kind of intriguing elements, and I'm just fascinated to see how that's come together and what kind of film it is. Ticks a lot of boxes for me.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's a really strong year. I'm so happy. I just a few days ago extended my stay in Cannes from about 8 days to 10 days. And now I'm so excited that I've seen the lineup. But Wendy, give us a film that you're can't wait to see.
Well, I mean, obviously I'm excited for pretty much all of them, but I'm really happy to see Mary Kreutzer's film in competition. I absolutely loved Corsage. I think she is one of those filmmakers who works brilliantly with actresses and just gets very interesting textured performances out of her actresses. This time she's working with Léa Seydoux. And yeah, I think I don't know much about it. It's sort of about a renowned pianist relocating with her family and a life-shattering truth. So it's sort of, family dramas. So that's as much as I know, but I do know that it will be a fascinating film. I'm really excited to see it there, and I'm just happy to see her making that step up into competition.
Yeah, it's so much to look forward to. I can't wait to see what pans out to be a masterpiece, and also the other way too. You never know.
What's this year's Neon Demon going to be? Let's predict.
Oh, I liked Neon Demon.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I did. Refn's back. He could be the new Neon Demon again. I would encourage our listeners and viewers, if you tell us in the comments wherever you're watching or listening what film you're most excited for at Cannes so far. We would love to hear that. But a huge thanks to Matt and Wendy from joining me. I have to say, I think the three of us must, whether under duress or otherwise, go sit together in the front row of the Travolta and
an hour.
report back. Yeah, it's only an hour. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for Cannes. I hope our listeners are excited. Screen will be there. We're doing lots of podcasts. Of course, we've got a while to go, so we'll be talking again about probably more of the lineup as we see more announced. But yes, it's a cinema lover's paradise. So thanks, Matt and Wendy, for joining me.
Thanks, Wendy.
And thanks to everybody who listens to the Screen podcast. Please do rate us and like us and follow us and subscribe wherever you get your pods. And we'll be back again next week, of course. And do say thanks to the whole team Screen as well. So that's our podcast producer, Ellie Calnan, and our web editor, Orlando Parfit, who helped bring this all together as well. We'll see you in Cannes.